Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak with you this afternoon. It is indeed a privilege to be able to share this stage with so many wonderful speakers and be able to talk a little bit about something that means a lot to me. This afternoon, I'm using a topic that is a reflective topic, and I'm using this topic because later this week I'll be celebrating a birthday. And birthdays do something to me. Birthdays cause me to give some thought to my life, to kind of think about the journey that I've taken in life, and to be able to think about those things that I've experienced and those things that have happened to me that have made an impact in my life. They're guiding stones. They're opportunities to reflect and think about where you've been and where you're going. And I think all of us have probably found ourselves in a situation where we've said this very thing. If I knew now if I knew then what I know now. And I think that as we reflect on those kinds of experiences, we have a unique opportunity to benefit from something that I found to be very, very helpful in my life. And that's wisdom. Because there's one thing for sure, you can't do much about the aging process. What happens with aging? Our hair thins. Our vision gets weaker. Our skin begins to wrinkle. We don't wake up the same way, feeling the same way we did 20, 25 years ago. But our mind stays strong. And the opportunity to reflect on the course of our life and the things that we've experienced, I think gives us the opportunity to tap into some tools and some things that can be helpful to us. So I think about life's journey. And I think about the wisdom that I've gained on my own personal life journey. And so this afternoon, for just a few minutes, what I'd like to do is talk to you about 10 best things that I've learned about life. Now, these are not necessarily the top 10 things. They're not the only 10 things. They're maybe not even the best 10 things. But they certainly are 10 things that I've learned about my life that have made a profound impact. And so I share them with you today. Number one, you can be on the right track, but if you sit there, you'll just get run over. Many of us have experiences in life where we experience success. We're promoted. We graduate. We get married. But the reality is this. If we just simply sit back and bask in the limelight of yesterday, we forget about the present experience and the opportunities that lie in front of us. It is a good thing to celebrate that which we have achieved, but we should never get ourselves in a situation where we're locked down by memories of just the past, because there really is too much work out there to be done. And when we look at a topic like breaking through, you can apply that to so many things in our lives. Breakthroughs come on the other side when individuals recognize that there's still much work to be done and remain active and engaged in the process of learning. Number two, who you know may get you in a room, but it's what you know that will keep you there. I have found in my own experience that because I knew someone or had a relationship with someone or had an opportunity to engage in a particular experience or activity, that opportunities have been afforded me because of that very purpose. But the reality is that once I got the opportunity to perform, then it was left up to me to reach inside of myself to find what was in me to be able to keep me at the table, to keep me viable, to keep me relevant. And all of us have that same challenge. When we experience things in life, the first step may be getting into the door, perhaps even the boardroom. But when you sit down at that table, you've got to have something to contribute because people are going to be expecting that of you. And it's important to do that. Number 8, you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. When you walk into a room, experts say that in about 4 minutes, people decide if they're going to like you or not. How do they determine that? They determine that by what they see. They determine that by what they hear. And for right or for wrong, that's inconsequential when it comes to the final analysis in people's experiences. Because people see things and then make snap judgments and decisions that are vital to the continuity of that relationship. And so it's always important when you go into a situation or circumstance to put your best foot forward, because you may not have a second chance to do that particular thing. That's one thing that I like to do myself. I think about my own personal life and experience. People tease me a lot about being well-dressed at work, and I've done that for years, but I grew up in a home where I watched my dad, who was a laborer, who would put on a suit every morning and take the necessary trip to work. He didn't own a car, but he would take a train to the Port Authority bus terminal. And from the Port Authority bus terminal, he'd take a bus. And that bus would take him into New Jersey, because we lived in Lower East Side of Manhattan. And when he'd walk to work from the bus station, he would do that day in and day out. I watched my dad do that for 33 years. And I saw that work ethic, not just in his commitment to what he did on the job, but in making that good impression, so that when he entered people's lives and engaged people, they knew they were reckoning with somebody who had value. Number 7, don't follow the money, follow the dream, and the money will follow. It's important to experience passion in your life. You know, every single morning I wake up fully excited and anticipating the opportunities that lie before me in a given day. I'm not a coffee drinker. Sometimes I don't even get breakfast like I know I should. But when I hit the road, it's time to go to work. And I'm ready to do what my heart tells me to do. And I'm passionate about those things that are important to me. And so as I move forward in that process, I don't think about who's going to pay me for something, because when you have passion about what you do, when you really believe in what you do, nobody takes that dream from you. And consequently, people will line up to pay you for what you do. Number 6, in dealing with relationships, when you see the red flags, don't change the color. Unfortunately, in life, we oftentimes experience things in relationships. And this could be personal relationships. It could be professional relationships. But we see cues about who people are, and we ignore those cues. We deny those cues. We sometimes act like we don't see those cues. And then when they manifest themselves somewhere down the line in the relationship, we say we didn't know they were there. We act like as if it was a surprise. The reality is that in most human relationships, we take people at face value when we first meet them. And we develop expectations, good or bad. And we expect people to be what we expect they were when we first met them. But unfortunately, when we first meet people, that's only a small part of the story. And so consequently, we need to make sure that we're true to ourselves and recognize that who people are is what people show you. And it's important to accept that as it is, because the only person that you can change is yourself. Number 5, in order to get what you want, you must be willing to do what other people don't want to do. It is important to remember that when you see success in life, you're seeing the evidence of many hours of backstory, labor, dedication, sacrifices, doing things that other people were not willing to do. You had a project to do, and because of your commitment to that project, you chose to stay up into the early hours of the morning. Everybody else went to sleep. Getting sleep is a good thing for sure, and creating balance in your life is a necessary thing. But we've all got to recognize that in order to get to that next level that a lot of people talk about getting to, in order to make that sincere difference and that incredible movement towards something different in your life that's going to unlock that potential and make that important thing happen in life and society, that you've got to be willing to take that thing the extra mile and do that thing that other people are not willing to do. Maybe it's a statistics course, and that's your challenge. Or maybe you need just a few more problems and a few more hours to study that. Maybe you're interested in a promotion on your job and you want to be a leader. Well, there's a reason that leaders are leaders, because leaders are willing to make the commitment to make those kinds of things happen. Everybody doesn't get to be the leader because everybody hasn't worked to be the leader. So we got to remember that. In order to get what you want, you got to be willing to do what others won't do. Number 4, the book is always better than the movie. More important than any other thing in my wallet, that includes my cash, that includes a credit card or two, is this item. This is a Huntsville Public Library card. I've had a library card now for the last 45 years probably. And I can remember as a child growing up in public housing on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. We only had one television in the house. We didn't have cable television. We didn't have a lot of things. We had a lot of love and we had a lot of books. And I would walk from home to school every day. And in between home and school was a library. And I would make sure to stop by that library every day. And I'd get some books to take with me to go home. We didn't have a lot of money to take fancy vacations, but reading took me places that I could never have imagined. And as I got older and more educated and more opportunities were presented to me, it was my ability to read and speak that made the difference. And it's true today. When we think about where we go in life, we go only as far as we're able to read and learn and push beyond the boundaries that sometimes keep us confined to where we are at that moment. I believe personally that leaders are readers and readers are leaders. And consequently, the book will always take you much further than anything else will in this life. Number 3, I want your help on this. Give me a T. T. E. E. A. A. M. What does that spell? Team. Teamwork makes the dream work, and together everyone achieves more. Woodrow Wilson said it famously. I don't want to just use my brain, but I want to use all the brains that I can borrow. I don't need to know everything. I just need to know people who know something. It's not about ego. It's not about embarrassment. It's about opportunity. And I choose to align myself with people who know different things than me. Different things than me because of their knowledge and different things than me because of their past experiences. And so consequently, I'm interested in engaging people who are different than me in many different dimensions. And consequently, I have the opportunity to grow beyond myself as a result of that. So teamwork makes the dream work, and together everyone achieves more. Number 2, you need a positive network. I love social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Google, Instagram, you name it. I'm out there doing it. But the reality is this: I'm not wasting time on those things. I use it as a means to an end. I use it in a positive, productive way. We live in a society today where many people are challenged by many things. They need access to certain resources. They need information about certain things. They need job information. And so when you create yourself a positive network, whether it's through social media or some more conventional or traditional methods, you need to get out of the box in order to do that. Many people confine themselves to a box. And the reality is that sometimes our success lies just beyond the box that we're afraid to leave. And so it's important for us to expand our territory and take the chance of interacting with somebody who might be different than you. And then finally, there's nothing more valuable than your time. One writer said it like this: you only have a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Didn't pick it, didn't choose it, but it's up to you to use it. You'll give account if you abuse it, just a tiny little minute, but your eternity is in it. The reality is that you and I are working with time, but it's much later than any of us ever thought it would be. And this morning when you and I woke up, we had the same 24 hours that Bill Gates had. The only difference between us might be that Bill might have got up at 4 and we got up at 8. Wow. We need to recognize that it's what we do with time that makes the difference. Because there's no distinction based on socioeconomic status or any other parameter as it relates to our time. We're given a precious gift of time and a precious gift of life. And it's up to us to choose how we use that in the most beneficial way. Thank you very much for your time today.